is the year 1926, Bel Air, California. Manny Torres meets a truck driver set to help him transport an elephant to a party being thrown by studio executive Don Wallach. Despite being told that he was transporting a horse, Manny pays the driver to carry the elephant. As they go up a hill, the elephant's weight causes the truck to start rolling downwards. Manny and his partner try to push the truck back up, and the elephant violently defecates on Manny's partner. Manny is helped by a convoy to take the elephant to the party. It is extravagant and over the top, with many nude or topless women and a cavalcade of drugs. Jazz musician Sidney Palmer plays with his band, and cabaret singer Lady Fei Zhu performs a seductive song for the crowd. Arriving at the party is veteran actor Jack Conrad, whose wife Ina demands a divorce after he keeps speaking to her in Italian and not taking her seriously. Manny also sees as a young woman, Nellie Leroy, arrives as she crashes her car into a sculpture. When the security guard tries to deny her entry, Manny helps get her inside. He brings Nellie to a room with drugs. Nellie talks about how she came from New Jersey and has aspirations, while Manny comes from Mexico and wants to leave his mark on the film industry, as he quickly falls in love with Nellie. During the party, a young actress, named Jane Thornton, overdoses on drugs while partying with an older man. Manny's boss Bob Levine assigns him and his coworker to solve the situation. They set the elephant loose into the party, freaking out the other partygoers, so that they can sneak the unconscious Jane through the party unnoticed. A very high and intoxicated Nellie then dances her way through the crowd and makes an impression. As the party dies down, Nellie is given an invitation to be part of a film set to play Jane's role. Manny is instructed by Bob to take Jack back to his house. Despite a brief drunken display, and a tumble over the balcony into his pool, Jack remains unharmed and requests for Manny to stick around with him. A few hours later, Jack goes to the set of a war epic film. Manny is brought along to handle the extras, who charge after him until he grabs a gun and rides a horse to scare them off. The horses smash all the cameras, and the director wants to get his closing shot before the sun goes down. Manny drives to a camera shop in town and waits over an hour for the last available camera. With little time left, Manny steals an ambulance and makes it back to the set in time for the crew to get a long shot of Jack kissing the leading lady, with a butterfly landing on him for extra flair. The crew is excited. At the same time, Nellie shows up to the set and meets the director, Ruth Adler, and her assistant director Max. Although Ruth was hoping for the other actress, she settles for Nellie. She is set to play a role in a silent Western film where she enters a bar and puts on a vulgar display. Ruth Adler is impressed by Nellie's ability to cry on command, and when asked how she does it, she says, "I just think of home," upstaging the film's lead actress, Constance Moore. A nearby set fire almost derails the production, but Ruth orders the cameras to continue rolling. 1927. Nellie's star begins to rise in Hollywood, with her work on the film continuing to outdo Constance, who is angry because she is financing the film. Nellie's father Robert arrives and attempts to capitalize off her newfound fame. Meanwhile, Jack helps Manny get assistant work on films. Jack marries a Hungarian actress, Olga Putty, but she shoots him in the arm after finding out that he cheated on her. Manny goes to the theater and watches The Jazz Singer, one of the first talking pictures. He calls Jack to inform him that things are about to change. 1928. Manny finds Nellie again after getting her away from wild fans and photographers. She talks to him about people's perception of her, and how she tries to not let that define her before visiting her mother, who is institutionalized. Nellie goes to work on a talking picture, but the set is too hot because the air conditioner is too loud. Plus Ruth, since she is badgered by the sound mixer Lloyd over how loud or how quiet Nellie is, along with other distractions. One of the crew members begs to be let out of the recording booth since it is too hot, but Max forces him to stay there. After the crew finally gets a successful take, everyone is happy until a crew member collapses dead out of the booth from heat stroke. Manny goes to another party where Jack arrives with his third wife, Estelle. Sidney and his band are playing, while Faye is also a guest. Nellie arrives being carried by a football team and takes an opportunity to kiss Jack in front of Estelle. Faye takes a moment to perform a sensual dance with Nellie, which is ruined by a drunk partygoer pushing through them. When she goes to the bathroom to freshen up, Nellie overhears two men talking about how she has no talent and has a voice like a dying pig, which hurts her feelings. She then goes outside and sees her dad talking to another woman about fighting a snake. Nellie gets mad and in front of everybody she challenges his father to fight a snake, to hopefully kill him, in order to cut off any sense of home she got left. Jack, Nellie, Manny, Faye, Robert, and other guests drive into the desert where Nellie encounters a rattlesnake and tells Robert to fight it. Robert gets himself into a fighting position, but he passes out. Nellie then opts to fight the snake herself, despite the warnings of everyone else. Nellie grabs the snake, which bites her neck. After she frantically runs around and the others fail to help her, Faye grabs a knife and decapitates the snake before sucking the venom out of Nellie's neck. When Nellie regains consciousness, she passionately kisses Faye, not caring that she is a woman. Sometime later, Manny recommends Sydney for a job at Kinescope Studios. Bob is impressed with Manny's work and offers him an executive position, but he tells Manny that he needs to do something about Nellie, as her reputation is going downhill due to her constant partying and gambling, as well as her alleged relationship with Faye, which gets Faye fired since Hollywood is becoming more judgmental. Nellie overhears Manny's pitch to the higher-ups about fixing her reputation, setting her up with gossip journalist Eleanor St. John to fix her up. Sydney begins working at Kinescope Studios since black-led films are taking off. However, he becomes upset and uncomfortable when Manny suggests he apply blackface makeup. He leaves the studio for good and never looks back. Jack learns that his close friend George Munn killed a woman he was having an affair with and then committed suicide. Jack is distraught and gets into an argument with Estelle when she refers to his work as low art. 1930. At this point, Hollywood has completely transitioned into talking films. Manny and Eleanor have worked hard trying to rehabilitate Nellie's image. She is brought to a party with other snotty upper-class socialites and film people in attendance, and she attempts to project a more posh and sophisticated image. However, Nellie can no longer pretend to hide her disdain for the other guests, and goes off on a profane tirade before pigging out on the food and storming out. Seconds later, she walks back in to projectile vomit on the rug and on the face of the party's host. 1932. Jack finds his career going in decline. He continues to work for Kinescope in low-budget films, but he goes to a theater and finds an audience laughing at his performance in his latest film. Jack also reads a column written by Eleanor after she interviewed him about his star fading, and he goes to confront her. She bluntly tells him that his time as an actor is over, but he and everyone else in his time will be immortalized with their films for future generations. So he can take comfort in knowing that they have left their mark on the industry. Jack later gets a call from executive Irving Thalberg, who initially states that he's got a good project for him, but Jack knows it would be a favor for him and that the project sucks, which Thalberg admits to. Manny is visited at his home by a messy and panicked Nellie. She tells him that she owes $85,000 in gambling debts to a gangster, and if she doesn't pay up by the end of the week, they will pour acid onto her genitals. Manny initially refuses to help, but seeing how devastated Nellie is, and remembering their time together and how much he cares about her, he decides to help. He goes to the Count, a longtime co-worker who pushed drugs on sets and is now an aspiring actor. Manny and the Count go to the home of the outlaw, James McKay, with the bag of money. When McKay goes to get drinks, the Count confesses that the bag is filled with prop money, which makes Manny extremely edgy. McKay invites the two, along with his thug Wilson, to an underground location where depraved sex acts are taking place. McKay guides them to see their main attraction, a brutish man who eats live rats. When McKay starts throwing the prop money at the man, he finds a drop of water on it and realizes it's fake. Manny grabs a mace and jams it into Wilson's neck, and the other men chase after them. Manny sets loose a chained alligator and continues running with the Count, narrowly escaping the gunfire. Manny meets with Nellie and urges her to join him in running away to Mexico. Together with the Count, they pack their bags and go to find gas. As Manny begins pumping, Nellie walks into a party and begins dancing. When Manny stresses that they need to go soon, Nellie breaks down over all the trouble she has put Manny through, especially as he tells her how much he loves her. They agree to marry in Mexico and start a new life as a nearby photographer records Manny and Nellie dancing as they share their first kiss. Meanwhile, Jack is at a party with his newest girlfriend. He runs into Faye one last time, as she tells him she is heading to Europe to work for Pat Studios. They say goodbye, and Faye looks back at Jack sadly. Jack then quietly walks up to his hotel room and grabs a gun, shooting himself in the head. Manny goes to the Count's apartment to get the last of their things, leaving Nellie in the car to wait for him, but she feels she is no good for Manny and dreamily dances away into the darkness. One of McKay's thugs shows up and kills the Count and his roommate. Manny begs for his life, even wetting himself, but the thug orders Manny to leave Los Angeles. After doing everything to save Nellie, and still losing her, Manny escapes from LA. A brief montage shows people attending Jack's funeral, along with newspaper articles announcing Eleanor's death at age 76, and Nellie being found dead in her hotel room at age 34. 20 years later, Manny returns to Los Angeles with his wife and daughter. He stops at Kinescope Studios and talks to a security guard, stating that he has a successful business in New York. While the wife and daughter go back to their hotel, Manny goes to the movies to watch. He notes many similarities between the film and his time with Nellie, which brings him to tears as he misses her. Another montage shows the evolution of films from the silent era through the 20th century, to more contemporary films like Terminator, The Matrix, and Avatar. Realizing that he achieved his dream of leaving his mark on the industry, Manny smiles through his tears.